Today on the spot, we got demos of 3D Game Heroes on the PlayStation 3 and Bass Pro Shops The Hunt on the Wii. Chris Waters gives you his review of the secret armory of General Knox for Borderlands on the Xbox 360, and we get caught up with the latest this week on PlayStation Network. Finally, we give away free games today on the spot.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Today on the Spot. Brian Aperg and Giancarlo Veronini are here to bring you a great episode of Today on the Spot. But before we get to all the stuff that's happening on the show today that you saw at the top, let's talk about the Nintendo Press Summit, which was earlier this week here in San Francisco. We saw a whole bunch of great games, stuff that's coming out in the first half of 2010. Saw Super Mario Galaxy 2, and you got to play Metroid Other M for the first time, right?
Yeah, this is the first time we've been able to play it. They basically put us in a room, they're like, just have at it. And what's interesting about this game is that it's sort of a combination of Metroid Prime and Super Metroid. So the game takes place from a third-person perspective, but there are times where you can go into a first-person perspective and kind of look around the environment, and you can shoot enemies and all that stuff. But the game is generally played from a third-person perspective, and you can move around in full 3D, and you hold the Wii Remote sideways.
Okay.
There's a lot of interesting control mechanics there, and yeah, I think fans of the series are really going to be surprised what Nintendo has come up with.
And it seems like the story is just touching all these different Metroid games, right?
Yeah, so the story itself chronologically takes place after Super Metroid, and actually the story is a really big focus of this game. They really want to develop Samus more as a character, and really it shows even in the first few minutes. She talks a lot about losing the baby Metroid that gets killed at the end of Super Metroid and things like that. And we learn more about her relationships with other characters that have kind of appeared in other Metroid games. So really this is going to be sort of the culmination of the Metroid series.
I think the question everybody is asking is, what is Other M? What is that in the title? Do you have any theories?
So I do have two theories. One is that it's Other Mother.
Okay.
Because a lot of what Samus talks about in the early going in the game is sort of her motherly instincts about the baby Metroid.
Right.
And the other theory is just that it's Other Metroid, perhaps hinting to the fact that the Metroids haven't been exterminated, as what's kind of hinted to at the beginning of the game.
Well, we'll find out about Metroid Other M as we get nearer to the game's release. And of course, we have tons of coverage from the Nintendo Press Summit at GameSpot.com, so be sure to check all that out. Hands-on impressions, video interviews, all that good stuff. But let's get to the show first with a look at the news with Tor Thorson.
Hello everyone, this is your GameSpot news update for Saturday, February 27th. I'm Tom Magrino, filling in for Tor Thorson, who is currently kicking it old school-like with Leif Erikson. You know, it's been a slow couple of days when we're leading with a story about litigation that takes place on the other side of the planet. As some of you may recall, Tecmo star developer and Team Ninja lead Tomonobu Itagaki quit the company in 2008, just as Ninja Gaiden 2 was heading to store shelves. Itagaki subsequently sued Tecmo, seeking about $1.4 million in unpaid wages related to Dead or Alive 4. Today, that lawsuit has reached its resolution, as Tecmo has confirmed that it settled the suit with Itagaki. Unfortunately, the Japanese game company offered no details on the settlement. Both parties, of course, have moved on by this point. Tecmo's Team Ninja is collaborating with Nintendo on Metroid Other M, which just picked up a June 27 release date, while Itagaki founded a new development studio tentatively titled Tokyo Vikings. Also of interest, EA has two bits of DLC news this week. The first is that EA Dice's Battlefield Bad Company 2 has two multiplayer maps chambered for day one release on the 360, PS3, and PC. The maps are free for anyone who buys the game new, as will be a second round of online arenas due later in March. Likewise, BioWare has new additions to Mass Effect 2's Cerberus network, which is also free for those who picked up a new copy of the game. In late March, the Firewalker downloadable pack will be added to the Cerberus network content hub, bringing with it Hammerhead hovercraft as well as 5 new missions. Alright, that does it for this week. For more on these stories and other news headlines, head on over to news.gamespot.com.
Always a lot happening online with the PlayStation 3, so let's get you guys caught up with this week on the PlayStation Network.
This week on the PlayStation Network, Sony closes out the month of February strong with all kinds of downloadable content you're going to want to definitely check out. First up in the demos department this week, the E3 demo for God of War 3. The demo lets you get a taste of Kratos' latest adventure as he once again tries to single-handedly take down Mount Olympus along with everything and everyone in his way. The demo lets you battle underworld minions, get a feel for what controlling Kratos sporting wings is like, and generally wreak large amounts of havoc as you wage war against the gods. The full game is currently scheduled for release on March 12th, but you can download the demo, and we highly recommend you do it on the PlayStation Network today. Keeping with the dark theme, a new demo of Darksiders was released this past week. While the game had been previously released at the beginning of January, the developers wanted to share more of the Darksiders love with a super long demo, like roughly an hour and a half long, which lets you check out the entire first dungeon of the game called Twilight Cathedral. You can thrash monsters, solve puzzles, and gather loot, as well as engage in 2 boss battles. If you hadn't checked out Darksiders before, this might be a reason to check it out now. New to the downloadable games section this week, we've got Greed Corp. Said to be the first in a series of games set in the world of Mistbound, Greed Corp is a turn-based strategy game that adds in a little tension with land-collapsing consequences. You can play as one of the 4 factions in the single-player mode, each which has its own campaign and up to 24 maps to play. But as the name implies, being greedy with friends is also an option with Greed Corp's multiplayer mode. Up to 4 players can play, whether online or local, across 36 multiplayer maps. Greed Corp is available for download now and is priced at $9.99. In the classics section this week, the addition of Grandia into the library for download at $9.99 is sure to make some PS1 classic fans happy. In Grandia, you take the role of Justin, a boy obsessed with becoming a great adventurer who inherits a magic stone that leads him on an epic journey to uncover the mystery of a lost civilization in this classic RPG. Meet an exciting cast of characters who join you along the way and unravel the mystery of this ancient legend. In the add-on section, we got a few new items worth mentioning, such as the new Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, Drake Fortune, map, and skin packs. Brand new downloadable content for Borderlands called The Secret Army of General Knox, which GameSpot's own Chris Waters reviewed this past week and gave it a high score of 9.0. Also new and something Dante Inferno fans will want to check out is a costume based on the Dante's animated film that was released. Check the add-on section on PSN for even more details and pricing info. On the PSP front, 2 new games for purchase have hit the store, Echo Shift and GTA Club Super Mini Festa, as well as a free demo for the Eye of Judgment Legends demo. You'll also find new PSP minis, including the Terminator, Age of Zombies, and more. Lastly, in the video department, don't miss God of War creator David Jaffe in this week's episode of The Tester, which is available for download this week for free. Well, that's all the time we have this week. Be sure to check out PlayStation.com or GameSpot.com for a complete list of items hitting this week on the PlayStation Network.
All right, there you go. There's your look at what's happening on PlayStation Network this week. Maybe the biggest news out of that is the big Darksiders demo, a huge demo.
Yeah, it's like over an hour long. It's the entire first dungeon, and I think this is really an opportunity for people if they're kind of on the fence about the game, they try it out, they like it, go out, buy the full game. It's one of my favorite games this year, so I think it's definitely worth the download.
Although you know what, you better start now, and maybe we'll be done by Sunday or Monday.
Yeah.
Go get the demo now because that game is pretty awesome. Anyway, it's time for our first daily demo of the day. It's 3D Dot Game Heroes. Sophia Tong is going to take you through that game with the folks from Atlas.
Hey everyone, Sophia here, and I'm joined by Aram Jabari from Atlas, and you're here to show us 3D Dot Game Heroes.
That's right, everyone's favorite childhood memories crammed onto a Blu-ray disc.
Excellent. So I see you've already got it started, so let's just jump in here and see what you're showing.
Well, one of the things I was doing here, I'm jumped into the editor. You can customize your hero before you take them into the game, and I actually did a little CBS Interactive Eye here. There's 6 different poses, and I've edited one of the walking animations. I'll come in here and I'll quickly edit one of the attack animations, but I wanted to show off how fast the editor is, how quickly things load. I hold down the X button and I move around the D-pad, and you can see that you can expand the size of what you're selecting here, your cursor, rather easily. This is very simple. I did this in just a number of minutes, but you notice online people are doing all sorts of elaborate things with the game's release in Japan. It's as easy as that. I'll go ahead and quickly wrap this up, and we'll actually do the rest of the demo with this character, save it to the hard drive, and we'll jump into the game with it.
So where are we now?
Well, we've just had a little tutorial with the king, who's asked us to go forth and retrieve the legendary sword of old from the sacred forest. And you can see with the little rudimentary animation I do with our CBS eye, when we walk, we kind of go black. And now you'll notice that the game is a lush, retro 3D aesthetic. Absolutely. And we called it, we said use the term retro sexy. Everything is made out of 3D pixels, and it's supposed to be basically those classic 8-bit games you grew up with. Imagine them rendered in this current/next-gen aesthetic. The loading screens are also something to point out. Each loading screen is an homage to a classic piece of Japanese and North American box art. And the North American bit is kind of the cool part. The developer from Software and Silicon Studio, they went back and they actually designed over 40 new load screens just for North America based on North American Game Art. I won't talk about any of them here, but maybe we'll have a few for people to check out later.
Very cool.
Here's a little mini boss fight. We want to get to the sword. A couple things I'll talk about while I'm doing this, and we'll see how well I can balance coordination and talking. So a number of features were added to the North American version of the game. One of these being an optional hard drive install. The optional hard drive install is just a couple gigs or so, and it dramatically reduces load times. Obviously, the load screens being something a lot of people are digging, there's almost a reason to consider not doing that and leave the load screens on, but one way or the other, you can play it exactly the way you'd like to. There are also a ton of custom characters included on the disc that you can jump into the game with a few different heroes instead of just the starting 6.
So you can be like Link or something, as an example.
I don't actually understand that reference, but you can be any number of characters, especially if you create them yourself. So
Gotcha.
Here we're going to
Fairy?
meet a fairy who comes down and is going to be our assistant throughout this bit. And, we're actually going to jump a little bit further and go to a dungeon, actually. So we've moved ahead a little bit. This is actually the first dungeon or the temple that we have to go to. And I think I probably glossed over the big question people may have is, what is 3D Game Heroes all about? It's designed to be a love letter, really, a labor of love on the part of the developers of the classic games that all of us grew up with, action-adventure games, RPGs. I won't name any of them for some obvious reasons, but similarities you see. A lot of people go online and they say, well, this game must be a clone or a ripoff, and the truth of the matter is every aspect of the game that seems to refer to or allude to other games is actually done out of love. And there are so many elements in the script, so many Easter eggs to find, so many aspects of the mechanics.
And all that.
Oh, absolutely. There are some games that are even unrelated to this particular genre, but the 8-bit era that when you get an item, for example.
That is a big sword.
This is now, and one of the mechanics also people have been concerned about is the size of the character's sword. We don't want anyone to be worried. The character is not suffering from any sort of health issues, but what it is similar to other games in this genre where you may have a projectile coming off your sword when you're at full health. When you're at full health in 3D Game Heroes, your sword is at its maximum ability. And I can quickly jump to our menu, which is rather sparse since we're at the beginning, and you can see the stats for our sword. Each sword has a different number of stars that can be associated with a different number of traits, and you can actually level up certain swords. When you're at full health, they will be at their max potential, and the second you get hit, your sword becomes rather regular and pedestrian in size, and no one will be as impressed with you as they would have been otherwise. So here, I want to show you how the temples take advantage of mechanics, again, that we all grew up with. There's a puzzle in this room as to how we're supposed to get to the treasure chest. If you played games for any number of time, I mean, even if you played 1 or 2 games in the past, you kind of understand maybe you have to move some blocks.
Yes.
And we're going to go ahead and do that there. You can note the pattern on the tops of the 2 blocks here that we can move are different. That's kind of a hint. So how big is this game? This is a game that will take maybe someone who wants to plow through a dozen hours or so. But it doesn't end there. There are multiple modes that you can unlock in terms of difficulty once you finish the game. There's a new game plus, and there are mini games that you can actually play too. Things like a tower defense game called Block Defense, which is 9 stages long and really fully fleshed out.
Wow, so it sounds like it's going to have quite a bit to offer. So when is this game coming out and what platform?
3D Game Heroes is a PlayStation 3 exclusive, and it comes out on May 11th, 2010.
All right, well, thank you so much for stopping by and showing us.
Thank you very much for having us.
And now on with the show.
If you saw last week, we had an advanced look at the new Borderlands DLC, The Secret Armory of General Knox. Chris Waters is here with a full review.
Atlas is here for 2 things, power and revenge, and the order they do it in is irrelevant. We share a common enemy, you and I. The reward for your death is second only to mine. That alone should be reason for you to join my cause. But if it is not, and your greed precedes you, then you will gain access to all of their weapons. Their invasion stockpile will be yours. Athena out.
The great thing about downloadable content is that it gives you more of the games you like to play. With the 3rd DLC installment for Borderlands, developer Gearbox Software has taken the concept of more to a whole new level. The Secret Armory of General Knox features new areas to explore, new vehicles to drive, new enemies to shoot, and new loot to hoard. It features these things in abundance, packing over 10 hours of gameplay for only $10. And the best part of it all is that you'll be gaining levels and skill points the whole time, because this DLC raises the level cap from 50 to 61. With lots of lively, challenging action and a hearty dose of humor, this is Borderlands at its best. The Secret Armory of General Knox picks up after the end of the main campaign in Borderlands, and level-wise, that's the best time to tackle it, regardless of whether you're on your first or second playthrough. It seems that uncovering the secrets of the vault has thoroughly angered the Atlas Corporation. Now, they are preparing a massive retaliatory action, and it's up to you to thwart their corporate warmongering. So, it's off to the dusty roadside outpost of T-Bone Junction, where familiar faces await. And I'm not just talking about the ones staring back at you from wanted posters.
Your lady friend told me...
Characters old and new lend a lot of personality throughout this adventure, and they help make this Secret Armory of General Knox one of the funniest stretches of Borderlands yet. It's also one of the most vehicle-heavy, given that you spend a lot of time navigating elevated highways. These novel environments can be as perilous as any other part of Pandora, but some tough new vehicles help even the odds. One in particular not only accommodates all 4 mercs, it gives them each a weapon to keep them busy. The driving can still be a bit touchy, but the flat road surfaces minimize the amount of abrupt, unexpected stops. Of course, you will have to make stops to deal with hostile forces and loot roadside stockpiles. This is when you'll encounter some of the many new enemies in the Secret Armory. The Crimson Lance are your main foes. These soldiers were tough, engaging foes in parts of the main campaign, and the new variations are even tougher. Some are resistant to elemental damage, while others take to the sky in jetpacks. There are even some that pilot giant mech suits, but by far the most aggravating are the medics, who heal themselves and their squad mates vigorously. The Lance forces put up a tough fight, but in an interesting quest-related twist, they also drop power cores that you can pick up to gain boosts to damage, shields, and speed. This makes fighting the Lance an enjoyable challenge, but they aren't the only ones with new spring models. Those little psychotic midgets have also stepped up their game with 2 delightful new tactics: riding skags and hiding inside lockers. On top of these upgrades, there are a number of sub-bosses and a few big bosses that put up great fights. And as if that wasn't enough, the secret final boss, as advertised on highway signage, is such a badass that you'll need a team of maxed out mercs to even think about taking him on. This all adds up to a lot of challenging combat and, of course, a lot of satisfying rewards. The higher level cap means even crazier guns, shields, and class mods are out there, just waiting to reinvigorate your craving for loot. Invigorating is actually a great way to describe the Secret Armory of General Knox. It has all the stuff that makes Borderlands great: satisfying combat, rewarding loot, interesting places to explore, and a quirky sense of humor.
Shit and meatballs, didn't think I'd ever see your dumb ass again.
It hits the nail on the head, tapping right into the game's appeal and delivering the goods at a great pace across hours and hours of gameplay. If you stopped after discovering what the Vault was all about, this is your reason to go back to Pandora. And if you've long since cruised through your second playthrough, head on over to T-Bone Junction right away. No seasoned Borderlander should miss the Secret Armory of General Knox.
All right, guys, we got something special for you. A second daily demo. This time we're taking a look at Bass Pro Shops The Hunt. Our own Ryan McDonald was back in front of the camera to take a look at the game and check out this awesome accessory. You are killing deer with laser guns. Pretty awesome. Daily demo of Bass Pro Shops The Hunt right now.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Ryan McDonald sneaking his way onto the set because I got Chip Peterson here, who is the director of gaming over at Cyclone Games. Is that right?
Correct. That's correct.
Now, Chip has brought by, now if you guys know me at all, you know I'm way into hunting, and as you might see over this way, we've got this cool new, I guess you'd say rifle, right, for the Wii?
Nope, we call it a precision pointer.
Precision pointer.
It's a pointing device.
Now, this pointing device goes along with this game that's coming out in June, correct? And it's Bass Pro Shops The Hunt. All right, and it's coming out for the Wii. Now, you're going to show us a little bit of the action here.
Right.
Anything we should know going in besides this cool thing?
Well, the big thing is at Cyclone Games, what we do is we design games to go together with software to go together with peripherals.
I gotcha.
Right from the beginning. So you think kind of social gaming, Guitar Hero. So we designed this game from the ground up with the peripheral in mind. We didn't just take a piece of plastic, pair it up with the game, and bundle it out. So we designed the game from the beginning to work with the software, and also to appeal to retail, appeal to moms. So it doesn't really look like a gun, but it feels really much like it.
That's the subtle way to do it,
Yeah.
right? What about this bolt you got right here?
That is your reload.
Oh, no kidding.
So you'll be out there. We designed it all so that you have your fire trigger, you have your reload, you have your scope. So everything's on your thumb, so you can easily get around.
That's how you're moving the reticle around?
Moving around, point the device to move around is to look. Then if you want to move in on the scope, it's up on the D-pad and moving in and out.
Well, how about you show us and tell us about it?
So a lot of times in games you actually have to add the shake into it. But now with the...
It's like real world shake, right?
Real world shake. So let's see if I can scope in on him and try to get it.
Oh, that's a good shot.
So I got a perfect shot
That's
right
a
into the heart. So I get a bullet cam reward for that. So in the game we have rifles, we have shotguns, handguns, bows, and also if you're saying you're a true hunter, so we have a deer call.
Nice.
We also have doe estrus to attract the deer in, and also a scent eliminator, so I can put on scent to hide my scent. That's going to help mask my scent. And then if I want to put out a deer call, do a little quick matching game.
Now the one thing we should definitely tell the folks at home is that, oh, there you go. There are no deer in the air that are attracted to your call.
Yep. We have here I'll pop up the GPS. We actually have a GPS in the game and ATV because our levels are so big. And you need ATV to drive around, but you can't just drive around and jump off because you'll actually scare the animals away. So we have very large levels. That's what we pride ourselves on. And hunting the way that you would want to hunt. So if you want to go in using stealth, using the calls, just like you really would in the real world, you can do that. So I can come upon a track, I can track the animal down, comes on it, tells me what it is, it's telling me it's a whitetail. Oh, there he is right there. He's alerted to me.
Oh, wow.
So I slow down. Let's see if I can take him out again.
Oh, wow.
So I'm getting pretty good with this.
Now there's going to be a mini game or something else you're going to show us?
Yep, we have several mini games. So we have what we call light and deep gameplay. So this is kind of the deep gameplay where if I want to go out after the big game, which is, white-tailed deer, caribou, grizzly bear, elk, but also at the same time we have spot challenges inside the missions where you can go and do skeet shooting and do target practice. But then we also have mini games where we have ATV racing throughout the levels. We have duck hunt, which I'm going to show you. We can play two-player together if you want to play that. And then we also have what we call blind fire, which is almost a survival mode. You're in a blind, animals are running by, you try to get as many animals as you can, and then we send dangerous animals after you, grizzly bears, boars, and they start to rip apart your blind.
Oh, wow.
And if they can get through your blind, you actually can die. So we can jump into those mini games right now.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Take a look at those. So this is one of the mini games. You can play one player, or you can play two players. We're saying right now, you have the precision pointer,
right,
and I'm just using the normal Wiimote.
I got the one.
So it's a shotgun spray, so you actually can take out a couple. You can get them in a nice grouping. There was a couple.
Will it auto reload or will it...
Auto reload, but also you can be strategic and pull on the reload if there's not a lot of ducks in the air.
That's when I got my time.
Yeah.
So Bass Pro Shops coming out first week of June, that's all right?
First week of June on Wii, Xbox, and PC.
Now, obviously, you can't plug an Xbox controller in the side of this thing, so just use a controller for the Xbox?
Use a normal controller for the Xbox, and for the Wii, it comes with a special peripheral.
Now, this looks pretty fancy. How much does the game and this peripheral cost over here?
It's all bundled together for $49.99. You get the game and the peripheral.
That's pretty good. That's an awesome price. As a good quality product, it feels like. So, awesome deal.
Good game and a good peripheral. That's our philosophy.
If folks want more information, they can obviously check the game space on GameSpot.com, as well as probably head over to Cyclone Games, is that right?
Cyclone Games and also BassProShops.com.
Right on, Chip. Thank you so much for the pleasure. Yeah. The game, of course, is Bass Pro Shops The Hunt. It's coming out for the Wii and Xbox 360 the first week of June. And be sure to stick around and check out more information. On with the show.
Well, there you go. There's your demo of Bass Pro Shops The Hunt. Now it's time for trivia. We have 3 sets of trivia questions for 3 different prizes. The first question has to do with Bass Pro Shops The Hunt. We're giving away a $50 gift card from Bass Pro Shops, as well as a copy of Bass Pro Shops The Hunt. The question is, I asked Ryan McDonald the most technical ballistics question he could give me, and boy did he ever deliver. I'm gonna have to read this to you guys. Here's this question. If you sight a deer rifle, a 30-06, at 25 yards, then move the target back to 100 yards, where will your shot hit that target when you squeeze the trigger? Great question. If you think you know the answer, you can answer via the trivia module or email, and you will have a chance at winning that gift card and a copy of Bass Pro Shops The Hunt. We also have 5 copies of 3D Dot Game Heroes, and Giancarlo is going to bring you the question right now.
Yeah, our 3D Dot Game Heroes trivia question is, what game does this loading screen represent?
It's there on screen if you think you know the answer. Again, use the trivia module, send us an email. You have a chance of winning one of 5 copies of 3D Dot Game Hero. Finally, we have 5 copies of Trauma Team to give away. The question is, who are the 6 characters that make up the cast of Trauma Team, and what are each of their medical specialties? Pretty tough as well. If you think you know the answer, again, email, trivia module, send it to us. You have a chance at winning one of those 5 copies of the game. The next few weeks are going to be incredibly busy. We've got GDC coming up, and we've also got sort of a look at the rest of 2010 with a feature that you put up this week, right?
Yeah, we just put up a most anticipated 2010 feature, and we have the editors from GameSpot UK, GameSpot Australia, and GameSpot US kind of talking about some of the bigger games that are coming out or scheduled to come out this year. In some cases, not a whole lot of information about some of these games are out there, but it gave us a chance to kind of speculate, get real excited about them. So it's a lot of fun. Hope you guys check it out.
Yeah, I want you guys to check it out and do some speculation of your own. Check out the feature. Give us your comments. We want to know what you guys are excited about with 2010 as well. I mentioned GDC. It's in 2 weeks. A week from today, we will be gearing up for GDC, getting ready for that big show. We'll have 1 or 2 live shows that week. We'll have tons of interviews, lots of look at games. Basically, as much GDC as you can possibly handle, you will find at GameSpot.com. So please be sure to check that out. March 1st, which is Monday, we're going to have something special here on the site. Can't give it away just yet, but trust me, you'll want to be here to check that out. And we'll have demos next week on Today on the Spot, including games like Backbreaker, MLB 2K10, and Residents of Fate, among other things. But that's next week. Today's Saturday. We will see you on Tuesday with another episode of Today on the Spot.
Sat us down to like go at it. And what's interesting about the
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Today on the Spot. Brian Aperg and Giancarlo Veronini are here, and we want to bring you a great show today. But before we do that, we want to bring you a good show, but we're not going to be able to do it.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
Tune in next Tuesday when we bring you a demo of MLB 2K10 and go on location with a look at God of War 3.